following segment is a late add to the list. It was on a tape just recently discovered. Let me just say this about the tapes, mainly the early tapes. I was just a kid with a radio bug addiction. I had no real budget as such to buy new tapes as the old ones were recorded on, so they would be reused, re-recorded on, as needed. Many shows and audio recordings were lost forever, but some survived, even after having been recorded over. I could spend a half hour explaining the technical reasons for this, but let's just say there are sometimes hidden tracks on tape, particularly re-recorded tapes. Some tape heads record differently than others, so you could play a tape and hear one thing, but just ever so close by on another track there was something completely different. Something that had been recorded earlier and didn't get completely erased when it was reused. Many of the earlier recordings in this presentation were found on hidden tracks on the early audio tapes. It takes a special tape machine with special heads to find these hidden tracks. I've gone through hundreds looking for these special hidden tracks, and I thought I'd found them all. But this one was in such bad condition, I'd put it aside for later. Well, later finally got here. This tape took 50 to 60 splices just to be able to play it. Like 30 sections of tape, some playing forward and some backward. Well, it took a while to put it together. Then it took a while longer to fully explore it. That is, play it one way and search the tape for different hidden tracks, and then play it the other way and do the same thing. Well, needless to say, most of my earlier tapes have been fully explored by now. So to find something new was truly a treasure. And this one is of special importance because of the germ it planted. One of the techniques I used at WHAS Radio was extemporaneous ad-lib comedy vignettes. These were done on the fly. No scripts, not even usually an outline. Just an extemporaneous exploration of humor based on a simple concept tossed out at the beginning. In most of these, I would take the lead as the interviewer, so I could lead the unfolding ad-lib in certain directions by the questions I would ask. That's about all the control there was. The rest of the control was in the hands of the humor gods. Well, long story short, this following segment was a hidden track, and it's of myself and my Mid-South instructor, Thurston Springer. We are practice ad-libbing a radio show. Almost exactly the same thing I would be doing 10 years later at WHAS. Well, here it is, the ad-lib radio bug, as planted by Thurston Springer in 1960 when I was 16 years old. Thurston speaks first.
The year 2050. The time was one morning just before sunrise on Mars. All of us educated boys from down on Earth had come up here. We were sitting around smoking our cigarette, drinking our tequila, and having ourselves a good time. We sat here for some 4 hours looking at each other in the eyeball, and then suddenly it happened.
Hey, Joe, put your hands up. I'm going to shoot you dead. That's it. Now, go, back.
And he shot Joe dead. Then, about 1 hour later, after we buried Joe, we were sitting around again, looking at each other in the eyeball, and listen what happened. Somebody was coughing. We didn't plan it that way. Didn't anybody know it was going to be that way, but that's what happened. Somebody was coughing. And about that time, they sneezed. And when they sneezed, we forgot about the beans. Well, you know how Mars is. It took about 5 hours for everything to clear up there. But once everything kind of settled back down and the ice quit burning and and everything seemed like it ought to be just about like it should be. Well, I'll let this boy tell you a little bit more about what came to pass.
Oh, well, I never had many brains. I'm sorry, sort of stupid. I'm not really stupid, though. Just sort of touched. But I'll tell you how it happened. See, there's this big cowpoke in town. His name is Joe. He's a real cool guy.
Yeah, that's me.
Another guy. Yeah, another guy. And his name was, I don't know what his name was. Well, anyway, it don't make much difference anyway. But they said that he's gonna shoot him dead. He's gonna shoot him dead.
Yeah, gonna shoot him dead.
I'd never believe it. Then that gun bullet right through his head. Funny guy.
Well, that's about the way it happened up there. And dear friends and neighbors, I'm sitting here writing this letter in Martian, and that ain't easy to do, seeing as how I am a Republican.
Well, I was his girlfriend. Yeah, my name's Susie. You missed me on the first tape. My name's Susie. You know Susie? S-U-E-Z-Y, Susie? Yeah. Well, I was Joe's boyfriend. No, girlfriend. You know, I get mixed up. But anyway, they shot him.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I said. He shot him. He shot him dead.
Well, I don't know how Joe got out again, but that's the way it happened. Everybody got shot dead. And you know the funny part? Nobody had any guns. It's real strange up there on Mars. Strange things happen all the time and every day.
You have been listening to a program over the ABC network entitled Who Shot Liz?
The ABC Radio Network invites you to listen again next week at the same time for Who Shot Liz? And all of it came your way underwater. WMSE 1950 on your radio dial. And now, here with the commentary for today with our news wrap-up for the evening is Mr. Jim F. Flanagan.
This is David Huntley with the latest news from around the world, across the nation, and in the Mid-South. Well, President Kennedy today said that he was thinking very seriously of persuading me of Jacqueline. Now, that means that in the near future, Jacqueline will not be allowed to attend with any of the vice presidents. Also, Mr. Kennedy today issued another ultimatum to the Laotian government. He said there shall never be no more... Yes, sir.
In the meantime, this is David Brinkley coming your way with a special news bulletin. Dogwood growers, begin controlling your dogwood. This is the advice of Root Mullet, a University of Tennessee Extension entomologist. He's controlled with a water-based insecticide sprayed or painted on the trunks of dogwoods. He didn't say anything about the stumps that were split. Mullet says the ore is a limiting factor in the growth of the dogwood tree, but he says that it is not a limiting factor in the growth of the population. The adult worm is a small, clear, it resembles, it's nice. And now, once again, back to Huntley.
Once again, this is David Huntley in Washington. We have a special report just in from the jungle. Yes, the jungle. Jungle Dr. Tom Hooley is dead. Yes, Jungle Dr. Tom Dooley is dead.
RIP.
Yes, he's been dead.
RIP.
Rip had.
R.I.P.
Yes.
P.R.
Yes, Rip had. Now we take you back to, who is it?
I don't know, but I'm here. A young Canadian kidnap victim has been found. He never was lost, but they wanted you to know that he had been found in case you thought that he had been lost. And we have a special message for a lady that listens to our program each and every night. She writes saying, I wish you would get your program up, excuse me, wrong letter. It says here, I listen to your program every evening, and I think it is the most wonderful, the most glorious newscast that I have ever heard day in and day out, night in and night out. Signed, Mrs. David Huntley. Now back to David.
Yes, I had to get my wife in that. How do you like our friend mail there, whoever you are?
Yes, just fine, just fine.
You never did introduce yourself properly to our radio audience out there in, to quote a phrase, Radio Land?
Well, David, we have been friends for so long, I thought you recognized me and knew my name was friends and neighbors out there in Radio Land. If you can remember my name, would you please drop me a card or a letter? I seem to have misplaced it somewhere.
I say there.
Oh, jolly good, if I do say so.
Quite right there, old chap, quite right. And let's go out and have a little, go down to the pub and have a, well, let's have one anyway.
Oh, I think that is a bloody good idea, old chap.
Oh, bloody chap, oh, bloody. Yes, sir.
And gooey too, you know, old chap.
Tooey to you too, Tootie.
Until tomorrow evening at the same time, this is David Brinkley and Chet Huntley wishing you and yours from the BBC a most glorious good afternoon, bloody chaps all.